Good morning. If you are watching right now, you are watching the replay because we are no longer live, but welcome. Today I have a custom order to make. It is a Big B and a necessary clutch wallet for Miss Patricia. So I'm just going to wait for everybody to jump on and then we will get started. I figured I would do a different view today just to kind of give you guys a more closer look at the actual sewing process, and I didn't feel like putting on any makeup this morning, so that too. I'm just gonna go ahead and prep a couple pieces while I'm waiting for Patricia. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hi, Diana. Hey, Laura K. If I have any moderators in yet, this is a custom order for Patricia. Would you mind just pinning her comment when she gets in? It is Friday. So excited. I'm ready for the weekend. I haven't decided if we are going to go see a Washington Commanders game or not. They're playing the Raiders, which I don't really care for either team, but they're playing at home, which is like 30 minutes away from us, so why not? Down. Good morning. Has anybody seen Patricia yet? Hi Becca, so happy you're back. How do you like your new sewing room? I love it. Hey Deb. So my sewing room is the basement of our home, so I have the entire floor for my sewing space. So I have a bunch more room than I did at my last place. Hey Patty Lynn. Hey Deb. I'm gonna wait another minute for her to jump on. What else can I prep? I can go ahead and prep our connectors. This is a custom order for Patricia. She has a Big B, which was quilted, and then she has a necessary clutch wallet. Hey Patty Lynn. Hey Amber. Okay, great. I'm glad you're here. I'm just prepping a couple pieces. After I get this, these connectors done, we can go ahead and just jump right into it. So the Big B is one of my patterns. It's available on my website. The Necessary Clutch Wallet is by Emmeline Bags. And if you're watching the replay, I will link both of the patterns in the description if you're interested. What's everybody doing this morning? At work? At home? At the dentist office? Hi, Amanda. All right, let me line these guys up. That way I can just take one piece of tape all the way down. Work from home, enjoy coffee at Panera. Nice, at work, working from home. Isn't working from home the best? My husband is actually at home this morning, doing a little bit of work. Working on a quilt. What size quilt are you making, Deb? It's a dream, right? All right, I'm gonna wait on these. Let me go ahead and pull out what we're doing today. So Miss Patricia requested a quilted Big B. I made the Americana Big B one day. I don't know if it was this week or last week. Anyway, she really liked it and she wanted one made for herself, but her husband served in the Marines and the Army, and so I actually have this fabric. I purchased this a while ago from a military supply store, and this is actual Marine fabric that they wear on their uniforms, and then this is actual OCP Army material. So I went ahead and quilted up 2 panels for the Big B. So all I do is I lay the pattern down on my table and I decide where I want all the blocks, and then I just sew the blocks together by row. So I'll sew this to this, this to this, this to this, this to this, etc. And then I will turn over this row and I'm going to flatten out all of my seams by just pressing them with an iron, and I'll do that for each row. And then also this row to this row, right sides together, same thing here, same thing here. And then I'll flip it over and I'll also iron down. I can't show you because I interfaced it. And then I'll iron down all of my seams so all of my seams are flat. And then I take 2 layers of fusible fleece and I adhere it to the front pattern. And then what I do is I just sew down each row and each column, and that kind of gives it a little quilted effect. And then I trim my pattern to, or I trim the panel to the size pattern. So this initially was about 2 inches larger on each side and top to bottom. You always want to make it bigger because once you sew everything together and then fleece it, it will shrink your fabric a little bit. So if you're going to do a quilted effect, make it a little bit bigger. I would recommend probably 2 inches taller and wider than your pattern. That way you can cut it down. Now once you cut it down to size, what I do is I actually sew around the entire piece, and that's going to lock your stitches in. So remember, if you cut the top or you cut the sides, you're cutting where you stitch them together. And even fleecing it and quilting it, your stitches can still come undone where you've cut the fabric. So I just like to take a second and sew all the way around. That's going to lock in your stitches and you don't have to worry about your blocks coming undone. So that is how I made the panel. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So she wanted a navy blue coordinating vinyl, which we're going to do, and then a red and white polka dot for the interior, which pulls in the pieces from the outside. All right, let's do it. Let's start with the interior first. This is going to be a dual slit pocket. So I went ahead and sewed the 2 pieces together. All I'm going to do right now is add the accent for the top. So what I like to do is sew it right at the bottom, so that way we're connecting our vinyl to the cotton, but I also like to do another stitch along the top. I think it just makes it look a little bit better. Are you taking orders? Holly, so if you need custom printed vinyl, those orders will be October 1st. This was just a repeat of a bag that I already made, and it's cotton. So I had the materials on hand and I didn't have to custom order anything. So the short answer is, if you need something repeated that's like sold out but is made with cotton, yes, I can do that, but I can't custom print anything until October 1st. So I think that the strip along the top as well as the bottom just gives it a little more personality. Holly, I know you're ready, and I promise as soon as I'm taking orders, I'm going to post it in my Facebook group. Alright, so here's one interior panel. We're going to go ahead and center that and then sew it down. And then this particular bag also gets a strip of vinyl at the top of it and a little accent piece. And then we're going to do that next. You're welcome. I promise I haven't forgotten about you. Alright, so I'm just going to position it in place. Let me grab a couple of pins. And I'm just going to pin that in place. Don't apologize, it's okay. Did the lilac sell? No, I actually never got a chance. So yesterday got really crazy. I think a lot of you guys know I was supposed to come on live yesterday. It got really crazy and I had to step away from the house for a little bit. So I did not get a chance to even take pictures and post it on my website yet. So they are both available if you're interested. Unless you were just curious. Sorry, school started and I'm not like, no, it's okay, don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sew down the side, across the bottom, back up the side, which is going to leave this open. And then I usually split it where my hand can go in. So I'll do another smaller section right here, which is perfect for like ink pens or lip gloss or anything like that. My sister is a teacher, and so I know like when school starts and like a couple weeks leading up, it just gets super hectic, so don't worry about it. All right, done. Hi Maisie. Is the inside of the small pocket cotton? Yes. So I just did 2 layers of the same cotton, front and back. All right. Like that. And then I'm going to use my friction pen to section it off. So I would probably say, let's go 2 1/4 inch. Let me turn on my iron so I can get that mark off when I'm done. Oh. It's red pen, so it's not really easy to see. I probably should have picked a different color. Alright, there we are. Hey Sheila, happy Friday. And then I don't know if you probably even won't even be able to see it, but there are like tiny like hair size, let me see if I can get it, like hair size threads that are left behind. I just like to singe those with my lighter just to lock them in place and make it flush so they're not sticking up, even though it's just a tiny bit. So here we have 1 full-size pocket and then 1 smaller pocket. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. Let's work on our zipper pocket for the other side. Happy Friday. All right. I think I showed this to you guys last time. I'm going to show you. There's a ton of ways to do zipper pockets. This is going to be inside of a zipper panel. So I'm going to show you the way that I like to do it. To me, this is just the easiest. We have 2 layers of the same print. We're going to place the zipper right side up on the very top, and we're going to sew that down. I also need to iron that friction pin, which you can't really see it anyways. I'll do that when I iron this pocket down. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flip the pocket to where you're looking at the wrong side of the fabric and the right side of the zipper. We're gonna grab our other pocket piece and we're just going to slide this to the top as well and then sew that down. Make sure it's lined up. There we are. And then now what I'm going to do is open that up. There's a little bit of bulging at the zipper, so I want to just take my iron and iron that flat. It just helps to allow everything to lay nicely. Not necessary though. Then I'm going to flip it over this side and do the same thing. There we go. And then add the zipper pull. The way that I do it is just put one side of the zipper about halfway onto the zipper and then put the other one to about the same size and then push it together. You'll hear a little click and that usually gets it on, and there's not usually a gap if you do it halfway. All right, let's set this aside and work on our zipper panel. Going to add a piece of double-sided tape to the top and the bottom. That's going to hold it in place while I sew it. Thanks, Sheila. Alright, let me grab the other interior lining. So we have the dual slip pocket, and then this side is going to be the zipper. Getting stuck. Same thing, I want to center this, so I'm going to measure down. Do you go through lots of rolls of tape? Yes, I do. My issue with zipper pulls was trying to put a 3 on a 5. That will never work. That will absolutely never work. That definitely sounds like a problem. Alright, I want to make sure that my box, because there's not a whole lot of material on this, it can move when you pull it up and down, so just place it so that your box is the same size all the way. And then what I'm going to do is just sew around the outside of the zipper overlay. I keep calling it a zipper panel, it's a zipper overlay. Tomato, really. And then around these curves, I'm just going to take it nice and slow. I like to lock my thread by pulling it through and knotting it off. How is your machine doing? Not great. She's holding on for dear life, I can tell you that though. I found somebody who does house calls and he will be here, I think Tuesday. I think he said he'll be in the area. So he services all of the DMV. So DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia area. And so he will be in this area, I believe he said Tuesday. So he's going to come by and try to fix it. Alright, let me pull this thread through and then I'm just going to tie them in a knot together. And then just like before, I'm just gonna seal that with my lighter. There we are. And then I'm going to take out the fabric in the center of this. I'm just gonna start it with my seam ripper and then just cut it out. That's good that you finally found it. Yeah, I know. I know. I just need somebody to just fix it like it was before I moved, or just tell me so I can buy another one. But I'm kind of in like the holding process right now. But hopefully by next week I'll know for sure. I'm just gonna lay my scissors flat while I cut. That will avoid me cutting through that vinyl overlay. Hi, Rita. I want to get a chance. I hope I get a chance to go to Hobby Lobby this afternoon. I got an email and it looks like some of their patterns are only $1 for McCall. So I would like to grab a couple of those. There we are. So that's what it looks like on the back. And then that's what it looks like on the front. And then all we do, this is one of the reasons why we iron it nice and flat. We're going to tape it so that it is centered in that overlay. So I'm just gonna add a couple of pieces of tape to the top and the bottom. I'm not in Hawaii anymore, no. I am in Northern Virginia. Every time I see someone do a zipper without one, the fabric puckers in the corners. Without what? Hi, Stephanie. Every time I see someone do a zipper without one, the fabric without... Did you make your square for your zipper? This overlay right here, yeah, I actually have a free pattern on my website, butterbags.com. So you can download this for free. Oh, an overlay, I see. Yeah, without an overlay, if you're just sewing it directly, your zipper pocket directly to the material, you're gonna cut, and then you actually have to cut like a Y. I actually have a tutorial on how to do this. You have to cut a Y right here, and if you don't get as close to the stitches in the corner as possible, it will leave a pucker. Do I miss Hawaii? I miss the weather. I miss the people. The people were super nice and friendly out there, and like super laid back. And this is just it's just a different area. All right, let's take the backing off. Oh, the whole tape came off. There we are. And then now I'm just going to center my pocket. That's my iron going off. Make sure I have enough clearance on both sides. I think I need to, yep, that should be good. And then I'm just pressing that tape down. There we go. So when I sewed this on, I sewed around the outside. Now I'm going to sew around the inside of this box to secure this pocket to the panel. Just want to move this over just a little. There we are. Your iron. I know, my iron gets people all the time. That's why I like to say, oh, don't worry about it, that's just my iron. Because people will be looking around their house like, what is that noise? It's me. Just like before, I'm going to pull my thread through so I can knot it off. And all you do is just give this a little tug and a little loop pulls up, and then you just pull that loop out. Super easy. Make sure everything is nice and flat so you're not sewing over fabric you're not supposed to. Go up one more. There we are. And then we'll pull this thread out so we can knot it off. I thought it was my coffee maker. Can you explain that process, please? This process? So pretty. What kind of bag are you making? This is going to be the Big B. This is a custom order for Patricia. So I just walked through the entire process. I am going to upload all of my lives that I do on TikTok. I upload them on my YouTube page. So you'll be able to rewatch this. Probably this evening I'll be able to upload it. And then you can get the process step by step, rewind it if you need to, slow it down if you need to. All right. Now what we're going to do is fold the top down. I'm gonna add a couple of clips. And then I'm going to sew down this side and then down this side. We're not going to sew the bottom. This bag, when we do the last step to put the inside and outside together, we're going to sew it inside out. So we're going to use this pocket to turn the bag right side out. So glad you're back on. Hi. Yeah, big culture change for sure. Move was not great. I still have a little trauma. But I'm okay. It's almost over. Right now we're in the process of like doing insurance claims for items that were damaged during the move, so it's almost over. I gotta turn my iron back on. So glad you're back on. Hi, Sigma. All right. Anytime I cut zippers, I like to melt them with my lighter because they do tend to fray. So as you can see like this right here, it will keep fraying. It's sewn in place right here, so it won't like eventually completely come undone. I just like to do this for just a little added insurance. And then now what we're going to do is just pop this open. And then just iron that down. That way, when we turn the bag right side out through this open pocket, we're gonna leave this open. The hem is already done for us, so we can just go ahead and sew that nice and flat. Where did you move to? I am in Alexandria, Virginia. I lived in Hawaii. All right, done. So we have our interior zipper pocket. We have our interior dual slip pocket. And then now we're gonna go ahead and add the accent pieces at the very top. And that's really simple. All you do is just turn them right sides together and then sew them down. I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast and we drove, oh my goodness. Never again. We went through Colorado. That's crazy. I moved from Pennsylvania to Texas one time and that drive was, I mean, we stopped at a friend's house and hung out for like a day, but it was still a few days and it was terrible. I can't imagine from one side of the East Coast to the other. Thanks, Miss Chris. Nightmare galore, I was traumatized. If I knew how to make bags, would have so many, right? I've been trying to make myself a new bag like once every 2 months. It used to be like once a year or once every 6 months just because I was so behind with custom orders. And now I kind of make it a point to have a really pretty nice updated bag every couple of months. In my truck I had 5 dogs and 2 cats. Oh no. I had our 2 dogs with me. This is not lined up. I just need to scoot it down a little bit. But my dogs are small. They're like 13 pounds each. So they were just in the passenger side floorboard. I just like put a lot of blankets and pillows down there for them, and they just kind of chilled out the whole drive. New hair, what type of fabric are you working with? So this is cotton, and this is called vinyl or faux leather. This is going to be the inside of the bag. I'm just going to go ahead and bring the other one in. Just keep going. Travel on our motorhome from West Coast. 9 days. Good gracious. But I bet that's a little bit easier being in a motorhome. Do you have like a bed and a bathroom? That sounds like fun. All right. And then now we're just going to open this up and do a top stitch. That's going to allow this to lay nice and flat. Do you need an industrial machine to make bags? I don't want to ruin my machine. So it depends on the fabric that you make and the style of bag that you're making. So there's not just like a yes/no answer. Like this particular bag can be made on a domestic sewing machine. Where do you buy your vinyl? MarineVinylFabrics.com. That's where I get my solid color vinyl. All right. So that is what the top stitching looks like right here. And then now I'm just going to, I cut the vinyl just a little bit larger than my fabric, so I'm just going to trim that down. Going to mark the bottom center just by folding it in half and then making a little notch just like that. Same thing on this side. To clip this up here because I don't want to accidentally sew over it, because the next step is going to be to sew the bottom, and then I'm just going to mark the center of the bottom. Going to take one of the panels, line up those centers, and then clip them together. I'm going to trim a little bit away on each side. And then sew those together. There we go. So that is going to be the bottom for the interior, and then we're going to do the exact same thing over here. We're going to match the center mark to the center mark. Good morning, Andrea. Sew that down. All right. So we've got the bottom sewn on to the interior, and then the next step is going to be to sew our sides together. So I want to start with matching up where the fabric meets the vinyl. That way when it's opened, it matches up nicely. You don't want it to be a little bit over on one side than the other. So all the little details really makes a difference in a look of like a homemade bag and a handcrafted bag. Which, I mean, this is homemade, but I would consider this more of a handcrafted. Alright, so we're going to clip that, and then same thing over here. Alrighty, and then now I'm just going to sew along both of those sides. That's my iron, you guys. I can't wait to receive it. Thanks, Patty. I'm going to finish it today and get it into the mail first thing in the morning. I'm not really familiar with my carrier schedule yet. I've only scheduled like 2 pickups so far, so I'm not really sure. But for sure tomorrow. Okay, so one of the last steps is just to sew the bottom of this to the side, but before we do that, we're going to install the closure. So what I'm going to do is clip both sides of these together. I'm going to find out where the center is and make a mark. And this bag is closed with a magnetic snap. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. And so while both layers are together, that way I know what they will be matching when the bag is closed, I'm going to cut through both layers of fabric with my seam ripper. There we are. Take these off. How long will your pattern for this book be? Oh yeah, this is going to be on my website until I no longer have a website, which I don't plan on that happening anytime soon. Alright, so with those marks that we made, we're just going to push our prongs through. Add the back. There's like a long-standing debate whether you press your prongs inwards or outwards. I always do it outwards. That's just a personal preference. And then we're going to do the same. Hey, Deanie! And then we're going to do the same thing over here on this side. Add the back. Open it up. So that's going to be the closure on this bag. Alright, so now what we're going to do is just sew this bottom to the side. Would you consider doing bag making classes? So this is kind of the extent of my class type of work. I have a ton of YouTube videos where I've done bags live before and just explain the process. A lot of the times I explain the thought process behind why I do certain things, especially if it's contrarian to like the norm. But like taking the time to do classes, I don't know if I have the time now. Alright, so sewing these sides closed is going to give us a depth to this bag. So before it was pretty much two-dimensional, just flat, and sewing this down is going to give us the depth to it. So I'm going to go ahead, do that. New tutorials, fantastic. Thanks, Christine. So that is going to be the inside of the bag. So we have the dual slip pocket here, and we have the zipper pocket over here. And the last step that I'm going to do is flatten out my side seams. Right now there's a pucker on the side. I want to flatten that out so that way it lays nice and flat. And the reason for that is that we're going to sew the inside and outside together around the top, and I don't want this extra fabric to be poking out. I want it to be laying nice and flat. So I'm just going to sew that open. Just like that. So now it's nice and flat. You saw the pattern for these, right? Yes. Yep. This bit is called the Big V, and the pattern is on my website. All right, inside's done. All finished. So now I'm gonna just set this aside and we will work on the exterior of the bag. Let's go ahead and start with the shoulder straps. So I went ahead and prepped them just by adding the double-sided tape and then trimming the bottom so that way we have a nice finished edge. So what we're going to do first is just fold up the top, just like that, and then we're going to fold each side in and just adhere it to that tape, just like that. I drew a line down the center, that way I know how far to fold in. I'm going to stop about 3 inches before I get to this end and do the same thing. Fold that, and then fold this over towards the center. There we are, that side's done, and then we're just going to do the exact same thing over here. It's exciting to see 464 people watching sewing. Me too. I hope more people pick it up. I am always a proponent of people to get into learning sewing. It's never too late. I didn't start sewing until I was in my early 30s, maybe. Late 20s, early 30s. So it's not something that I did all my life. I just watched a bunch of YouTubes. I kind of taught myself how to do it and then just tweak different things. Alright, so now that we have that folded, we're just going to fold it one last time. Gonna just clip this. And then we're going to sew down along each side, and that's going to give us our shoulder strap. You make it look so easy. That's the goal. It gets easier the more you practice. I remember when I first started sewing, I was absolutely terrible. I've spent some days crying on my machine where I've messed up, and that's just part of the learning process. So it can be challenging, but it's so rewarding because, I mean, there's an unlimited number of things that you can sew. The Juki 1181, but it's messed up. Oh no! What happened to it? I go ahead and trim my thread where I started. Hi Nicole, this is going to be a Big B. It's a handbag. Alright, so that is one shoulder strap. That's what it's going to look like on the bag. And then remember how we folded up our edges, and that just gives us a nice finished edge on all 4 sides. So there's no raw edge on the shoulder straps. Excuse me, I got some allergy issues. How wide did you cut the strap? So this is a pattern, so I cannot give measurements out. Incredibly satisfying, especially those little cutters. I got it a little on Mom's sewing machine, and now just recently. Oh, good! Good. Josephine, do you want to share what project you're working on? You don't have to. I'm going to do this one a little bit faster since I already explained the process on the first one. I'm sitting here hand stitching leather sewers. I've taken so much longer, right? Do you use one of those things that, I can't think of the name, that actually hold it? What is it called, like a pony or something? I'm making shorts from magazine patterns, so even if they're wonky, I'll wear them to bed or something. Yep, I've done that too. Shorts are kind of challenging, especially if you don't have a pattern, if you're self-drafting a pattern, but I remember that was one of the first things that I made when I learned how to sew. I just took a pair of my favorite shorts that fit me the best, and I just traced out a pattern from them and sewed them together. So it's not like super hard to do because you're really just sewing the front to front, back to back, and then connecting them. But if you don't have the pattern, if it's not matching up perfectly, it can be a little stressful. But good, I hope they turn out great. It's definitely fun to try out. Yes. Any idea when my needle would hit my bobbin? It might be an alignment issue. So your bobbin turns a certain time as your needle goes up. So if your needle and your bobbin are hitting, it's usually a timing issue. It's not synced up correctly, usually. I don't know of any other reason. I don't know if somebody maybe in the chat has another idea, but that's what I think about. Where did you move to? I heard the other day that you moved. Yeah, so we moved from Hawaii to Northern Virginia, in Alexandria. And maybe your needle is not all the way up. That's true too. When you install your needle, you want to make sure that you're pressing it all the way up. Yep, that's a good one. I think worst case, that's actually the easiest fix. It's just to check the position of your needle. Alright, second shoulder strap is finito. Gonna set this aside and we're going to work on the shoulder strap connectors. So these are what the shoulder straps are going to be attached to on the actual handbag. Welcome to Virginia. Oh, thanks, Eleanor. Are you in like Northern Virginia, Southern Virginia? Oh, before I do that, let me cut a couple pieces of tape. I'm going to fold this up similarly to how I did my shoulder strap so that I have a nice finished edge on the bottom. I moved across the Pacific and across, yes, it was a move. It was indeed a move. Let me grab my hardware. I'm gonna look at it. Oh, Orange County, gotcha. This is a Juki 1181. That's the model. All right. So I got that folded up again so that we have a finished edge along the visible side. I'm going to add a piece of double-sided tape. I'm going to add my hardware, take off the backing, and then we're going to flip this down. So that's what it's going to look like when it's sewn on the bag. Like that. And what I'm going to do is add a piece of double-sided tape to the back of it. That way I'm going to have it attached to the bag with the tape while I'm sewing it so that it doesn't shift. I'm glad you made it in our back lives. Thanks. weeks. I've done quite a few, probably not, I don't know, quite a few. I've done like 4 or 5 since I've been here. I want to do more. It's just that the time difference when I was in Hawaii was so much better for everybody else, because around this time in Hawaii, it was what, 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast. So people were off of work and were at home and could watch. And then like my sewing schedule hasn't changed. Like I normally work from, I don't know, 7:30 to 5. So like the time difference when I was in Hawaii was so much better for people. Now when I sew, it's during the daytime, which a lot of people work and can't watch. So I was at least happy for the 3 years I was able to catch people in the evening over there. Yeah, Juki 1181. But now it's going to be more tailored to like lunchtime lives. You're welcome. All right, last one. There we are. And then let me grab the front and back panels. So if you missed it in the beginning, this is going to be the outside. It is made with cotton as well as authentic military material, and it is quilted. So we're going to measure down. And center our connectors. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Andrea. Thank you, guys. All right, so that is taped in place. I'm going to do the other one, and then we're going to just sew them down at the same time. Do I sell my bags? Yes, they're listed on my website, butterbags.com. All right, so now I'm just going to sew a rectangle. So down, across, up, and then across the top to secure these. My thread got twisted. There we are. What are the measurements of where to cut the straps to get the flat bottoms? So I have a tutorial on my on both TikTok and on my YouTube that shows you how to make them. The measurement is dependent on how wide your straps are, so it's not going to be the same for everyone. So I would recommend, I'm not saying that just to get like you to view the video, but it's dependent on the size of your straps. All right, so that is stitched on. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. You're welcome. If you go to my YouTube, I know I only have like maybe 2 or 3 shorts that I have uploaded, and I know that I did make it into a short. It may be easier to find it there than to go through all of my TikToks. And my YouTube is linked in my TikTok page. Patricia, did you want a nameplate like I normally do, like right in the center, or would you rather have a charm? There we go. So that's what it looks like stitched on. Going to just singe the little threads. Charm, okay. There we go. So this side is done. I'm gonna go ahead and mark the bottom center just like we did for the interior. Just add a little step. And then we're gonna go ahead and sew this up. And then just one left. Is the exterior cotton or vinyl? The exterior is cotton with vinyl accents. So this is the exterior, this is vinyl, this is vinyl. The bottom is going to be vinyl, and then the shoulder straps are going to be vinyl. So it's a mixture of both, but all of these blocks are made from cotton, and then I lined it with 2 layers of fusible fleece. Alrighty. Let me singe these, and then we're going to go ahead and add the bottom. Let me mark the center. Do I make kids blankets? I mean, I can, but I don't make them to like sell. Okay, so we have this can be the front or the back. I'm not putting a name tag on it, so that way if she wants to use this as the front, she can. If she wants to use the other one as the front, she can. Let me go ahead and mark the center of the bottom. And then just like the inside, we're going to match the center of the bottom to the center of the panel. Sew those together. Do a little trim. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and open this up, and we're going to do a top stitch. So that's what the top stitch looks like on the bottom. And then we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. We're going to center the bottom, clip it in place, sew it, open it, and top stitch. Hello, Dan. Thanks, Dee's Creation. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and open this up, and then we're going to do a top stitch along this side, just like we did up here. Happy Friday, Judy. Done. Now, just like the inside, we're going to sew the sides together. Make sure everything is nice and straight so that it lines up. Why do you cut the parts? It allows the sides to line up with the bottom. So if you don't cut this fabric away right here, when you add the side to the bottom, it's going to be hanging over. So it's in the pattern. There we are. So now we're going to go ahead and sew that down. You're welcome. Can you buy the pattern? Yeah, it's available on my website, butterbags.com. You should also be able to just Google. Oh gosh, hold on a second. I got this puzzle piece. Okay. You should be able to Google Big B handbag pattern, and it should come up. Okay. So we got that all sewn together. Last step is just going to be to sew down our side to the bottom. And that lines up perfectly now because we cut that excess fabric off. And all it is the seam that we sewed the bottom to the panel, that seam right here. So that's reducing the amount of fabric that we need to connect over here. Hopefully that makes sense. There we go. So that's all clipped together. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I just bought it from your website. Oh, thanks. I hope you love it. I'm making myself a big bee with the gorgeous day. Oh, yay. I love the daisies on this bag. I've made a couple. Are you doing it from cotton, or are you doing it from So Enticing? Are you doing it from vinyl? All right, then we're just going to sew this down. There we are. So that's all sewn together. Just like the inside, I want to sew open my side seam so that way it's nice and flat all the way around. And then we're going to go ahead and sew the inside and outside together. Vinyl. Nice. Can I make an all leather purse? So I've played around a little bit with leather. It's a lot of work and it's very expensive. So right now I don't offer leather purses. Is the lining just stabilizer? No, this is the lining. So the lining does have stabilizer. This is SF101 or woven interfacing, and this is the lining to the bag. So it's cotton along with a layer of SF101. So we're going to turn our lining right side out. I'm gonna open up my zipper pocket because remember, we're going to pull through. It's gonna be sewn inside out, so we're going to pull this all right side out through this pocket. I'm going to tuck this in to the exterior. I want to make sure that my hardware is facing down so I don't accidentally sew over it. So just flip that down. Tuck this in. I'm going to start by matching up my side seams. Hi, Lisa. And then I'm going to go ahead and just clip it all the way around. Patricia, I know you're at work and it's probably lunchtime. Did you want me to make your wallet live or did you want me to make it offline and just send you pictures? I wish I could. Glad to see you back in your happy place. Me too. I wish I could have caught your making your lining. I've made lining toast in the pockets, intimidated me. So I said this earlier, all of my live videos from TikTok I actually upload to my YouTube channel. So this one will be on my YouTube. I actually made this bag a couple of days ago and that's already on my YouTube. So if you want to watch that to see how I do my pockets on the inside, you're more than welcome to. The lining is pretty with that pink. Thanks, Kimmy. The fabric come from? So most of it came from Joann, which is out of business. But like the OCP, the military, the Marine, and the Army material, I got that from, I got it somewhere online. I can't remember the name now, but when I upload this video, I will link the store where I got the Marine and the Army print, if that's what you're asking for. It just said you got 16 more. Oh, thanks, Deanie. Live if I have time. I do. I sure do. All right. I'm going to turn on my iron. And then just start sewing. Sewing and turning. Sell the same purse on your website. So this, I actually have one. This one is available on my website. It does not have the military prints with it. It's just like Americana theme, but this one is available on my website. I only have one. Do I miss Hawaii yet? I miss the weather. So like for example, yesterday it was 70 degrees and rainy, and today it's like going to be in the 80s and sunny. The day before that it was like 65. It was freezing out there. So I miss the weather being like 80 degrees every day with a little bit of wind. I mean the weather was perfect in Hawaii. But I do love being on the mainland. So remember how I said I sew open my side seams? That's just so that when I sew these two pieces together, everything is nice and flat and we don't have this little pucker here. What is my website? It's butterbags.com. It's also linked in my TikTok profile. Thanks, Sherry. I know, I'm so sad Joann closed. It closed right before I came back to the mainland, so we did not have a Joann in Hawaii. So I was like so excited to come back to the mainland and shop at Joann, and they were like, no thanks, we're closed. Kathy, this is a handbag. This is a Big B. Where am I located now? It's been a while since I caught you live. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. So I'm just going to push out the sides to the bottom. We're going to tuck the lining back in. Get everything nice and straight, and then we're going to do a top stitch, and then we're going to sew our zipper pocket closed. I'm going to tuck that in the meantime. Alright, so I want to make sure everything is nice and lined up. Remember, this right here is to our inside, so we want to make sure that that is tucked in. Going to just clip everything down to place. Where are you located now? Oh, I think I answered that. So I'm just getting everything lined up, clipping it into place, and then I'm going to do a top stitch all the way around. That's going to secure the inside, make sure it's inside and it doesn't roll up like it's doing now. It also just gives the bag a really pretty finish. Just tucking the inside in. I just stopped by to do custom orders, and how are they purchased? So I do offer custom orders. Sign up is available in my Facebook group, which is labeled Butter Bags. My custom orders are currently closed until October 1st though. So if you want to purchase finished items or custom orders, I have a Facebook group called Butter Bags. If you want to get inspiration on different patterns, like this is my pattern, I have a Facebook group called Butter Bag Patterns, so just make sure you join the right group. Okay, so we got it all clipped together. I'm going to go ahead and let me sew my pocket closed. I don't forget. You're welcome. And in my Facebook groups, both of them, either one, I also announce whenever I go live. So if you want to get like updated information, you can get it there. Let me hit this pocket with a little bit of steam to get out those wrinkles. We're gonna iron the inside when I'm done anyways. Alright, so I'm just tucking that in. Alright, now we will top stitch. I'm going to trim my thread where I started. There we are. Gonna seal that thread with my lighter. Done. So that is what the top stitching looks like on the outside right along here. That's what it looks like on the inside right along here. And then all we have to do is attach our shoulder straps. Patricia, which charm did you want? I don't know where my other one is. Let me grab the other charm that I have available. really sure where the other one is, but if I'm pretty sure you know what it looks like. So if you want the other one, just tell me and I can install that later. So let's call this one A and then this one B. Thanks, Tina. My mom commented I missed it going together. Oh no, Taylor. It'll be on my YouTube for the replay. So this is for Patricia. This is her bag, so she would be choosing. So did you want A, Patricia, or B? Or the other one? The big one, okay. And did you want that, like, there's a couple places we can put it. We can have it hanging off of the connector like that, or I can have it on the inside of your zipper. Let's add the shoulder straps first. The strap, okay. So I like to clip my straps on first, make sure everything is nice and even before I secure them with a rivet, but that's what it looks like. Oh, I missed the comment. Alright, I'm just making sure that they measure the same. They do. So now I'm going to grab my rivets. And install them. Got here a little late. Do you have a video on how you make these? I sure do. My YouTube, are you talking about the straps or like the bag? My YouTube has a replay of all of my lives. Oh no. I'll make sure we're stuck. Alright, so I'm going to use my hole punch to punch through both sides. Grab my rivet, install it, and then we are going to secure it after I install all of my rivets. Last one. I think she wanted the charm on the strap. So it won't attach to the actual strap. This is the hole right here that it will connect to, the small one. So that's not large enough to actually fit on the strap, but I can attach it to the strap connector. But it won't actually go on the strap. All right, let me secure these. And then we'll talk about the charm. So this is just a rivet press, and it's going to lock that in place. There we are. That's my iron shutting off, you guys. Alright, so that's what it looks like with the shoulder straps attached. And then, this is how you wanted it, right, Patricia? Attached to the metal bar on the connector. And I'm assuming you want it on this side. Are you going to add more of these bags to your shop? Yes. I actually have one that has very similar blocks except for these. Are you asking for bags that have the military print? Yes. Yeah, I can. That's too easy. There we go. Like that. I can always take it off if you want something different. But that's what it'll look like. Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. All right, let me grab the stuff to do your wallet. And that shouldn't take super long. I prepped a lot of this stuff before I came live. Okay, so she decided to do the same red and white polka dots for the inside, and then we're going to, I did her credit card panel in this, which is also on the bag, so everything kind of pulls in from the bag to the wallet. And then here is how I made your wallet flap. So we're doing navy blue for the inside of the wallet. And then I made these squares a little bit bigger than the squares around them because I wanted them to actually stand out. So we'll be sewing the wallet flap inside and outside together. Thank you. And then same thing with the outside of the bag. I layered it with 2 layers of fusible fleece, and then I quilted it just like I did the bag. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and sew down the side, across the bottom, and back up the side. We're gonna turn it right side out through the top, so I'm not gonna be sewing that together. Thank you, so enticing. Going to trim off the excess fabric in the corners. That way when I turn it right side out and press those corners, it'll lay a little bit nicer because we don't have all that extra fabric in there. Let me grab my screwdriver. That way I can press my corners out. I want to get a really nice 90-degree angle on this. all of the fabric bunches up in the corner, which is why we trim the excess off. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a top stitch to allow the wallet to lay nice and flat. Let's see, print a matching wallet to sell on your website. Since Joann closed, are you able to make any more of the bags with camouflage? Yeah. I bought these fabrics, not from Joann. I bought them from an actual military, like an authentic military fabric supply company online. Because this is the actual fabric that they use on their uniforms. I don't know if you can see, you can kind of tell by the grain on the fabric. It's not like regular cotton, but yeah, I have a bunch of, I have Marine, Army, and Navy. I'm pretty sure those are the only ones that I have. But yeah, I can. And if you would like one, it may be easier to just send me an email and I might be able to work out just doing a custom order for you. My email is info@butterbags.com. Could you use a piece of an actual uniform? So that would involve me accepting a package. I used to do that. It just could be a bit burdensome, especially if I've got your order, I'm waiting for a package. I've had customers where they take 2 months to send me their package and I'm still sitting on their order and I have to find somewhere to put it. So I used to accept fabric and do custom orders like that. I don't anymore, just because there's a lot of risk that's involved. If it gets here and it's not sewable, if it's like in such bad shape that I can't even sew through it, that's gonna cause an issue. So there's so much of a liability that I just don't. Sorry. Like if you were local, I would say absolutely, because I can look and touch the fabric. But if you're not in Northern Virginia, I'm sorry. Alright, wallet flap is sewn together and that is the top stitching. Now we're going to install, where did I put it? This has a twist lock. This is the hardware that I use if you want to take a screenshot. It's wall whack. I'd be afraid of messing it up now. I mean that too, that is another liability. So here's the twist lock. That's going to go on the main body of the wallet. And then we have the opening that the twist lock goes into that actually goes on the wallet flap. So I'm going to take the screws out. Ugh. I lost one screw the other day when I did this, and I haven't been able to find it. So I'm going to set that over there. Pop this open. I'm going to trace the inside. I want to make sure that it is nice and centered. There we are. So I'm going to trace the inside as well as where the screws go. Did I ever find it? No, I did not. Actually, I want to sew the top of this together just to kind of close it. We don't need it open. I'm so glad I love Me too. Me too. I love their stuff. And I would say that it is relatively, it's not expensive, it's not cheap, and it's good hardware. All right, I'm gonna poke through. Ugh. And then go in with my scissors. I can tell I'm cutting through the uniform material because of how hard it is to cut. All right. Let me see if that cut away enough. Nope, I need to cut a little more. Probably went in the trash can, yeah. I have a feeling that it did, and I just haven't had a chance to go through it. The good thing is that it's a relatively new trash bag, so there's hardly anything in there, but I do know that I have some pins in there, so I'm not looking forward to sticking my mitts in there. Alright, I'm going to poke through these hole marks that I made. Then install. This goes to the outside. Let me grab my screwdriver right here. I'm just gonna tuck it around the opening and those holes where the screws go. I think it's just the cotton material. It's not as movable as the vinyl that I normally sew, so I'm just going to cut through. There we go. Use the magnet first. So I already have like pins and stuff in there that will pick up everything. So I feel like I'm just gonna have to just dump it and just go slow. Normally I would just say forget it, and I just might if I can't find it this time I look. There we are. I grab the screw. I'm going to put some E6000. Where did I put it? They are tiny. I'm gonna put some E6000 right there. Uh-oh. I don't want to touch it. Right there. That's where the screws go. Line that up. Looks like it may have shifted a little. Oh, and let me pull it around and turn it over. Yeah. There we go. Just gonna twist them a couple times and then make sure everything is nice and lined up. And then tighten them. They are so tiny. Alright, so not only is it screwed in, but it also has this E6000 glue that's securing this twist lock in place. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, so here we are. That is what the front of your wallet is going to look like. And then let's go ahead and prep the inside. Patricia, did you want the wristlet strap that comes with it? I know some people don't use it. Some people will just use it right as a regular wallet. And with customs, I just like to ask. All right, I'm just marking where my twist lock is going to be installed. Hi, Stacy. I'm gonna install it later. I'm just gonna go ahead. Let me make sure it doesn't look straight. Yeah, it's not. There we go. Okay. So this is the outside of the wallet, navy blue. This is the inside of the wallet. Just like the bag, we're going to be sewing them right sides together or inside out. So we need to figure out how to turn it right side out. So I'm just going to cut a little hole in the lining to turn this right side out when we're done. Patricia, I didn't see a response, so I'm going to go ahead and just add the wristlet strap. All right, so right sides together. Just going to clip this in place. All right, and then at the top is where we are going to slide in our wallet flap. Nothing came through. I was going to pin it. Okay, thanks. I didn't think I saw it, but I know that she said she's at work, so she may have just gotten pulled away, which is okay. I'll just add one. Thanks for keeping an eye out, Deanie. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add a wristlet strap attachment. Hopefully I have one made already. I don't. I don't. Let me go cut a piece of fabric really quick and make one. I have a container with scraps, so I'm just going to use one of those. Is there a clock ticking nearby? I think it might be my ceiling fan. It's on high because it gets a little warm down here, especially like with all the lights and the machines and the irons. So I have the ceiling fan on, and I think the little pull down string is clicking up against it. Sorry. Oh, I did this wrong. I normally will just put it down the center. So yeah, you're not going crazy, but it's not a clock. That's so crazy that it's picking up that little bit of sound. All right. So for my wristlet strap attachments, I just cut a 1-inch wide piece of vinyl, fold it to the center, and then sew along both sides. And then I will add my D-ring. Slide that on, fold it over, and then just do a little stitch across just to secure that down. did you move this time? We are in Northern Virginia. Just gonna trim a little off the excess. So that is where the wristlet strap is going to attach to. And I'm just gonna tuck that right underneath the wallet flap. And then we're gonna sew all 3 layers together. I'm going to start warming up my iron. Knocking is my sewing machine. All right. Get my pinking shears. So I'm going to cut all this excess fabric off the outside of the wallet. And then we're going to turn it right side out through this little hole that I cut earlier. I like pinking shears because it cuts more fabric away than just straight scissors. There we are. So instead of just a straight line, it actually gets down into the fabric and cuts that away. Is that your new machine fine? Or this is my old sewing machine. Me too, Big Island. It's such a great pattern. It's such a classy wallet. All right, let's turn this right side out. Just going to stick my iron down on this side, hit it with a little steam, and that usually is enough to get out any wrinkles on the back. There we are. And then now I'm going to go ahead and sew along the entire perimeter of the outside, and that's going to allow it to lay nice and flat. Hi, Lori. Go ahead, scissors, and get them to do a rep discount for you. For some new scissors? Are you talking about, are we still talking pinking shears or regular scissors? Rosie, this is a wallet, or it's going to be a wallet. I'm going to pause and clip my thread where I started. Going to singe the little tiny threads. There we are. So that is what the top stitching looks like around the outside and then around the inside. And then this is the little wristlet strap attachment that we made earlier. All right, now I'm going to add my name plate. to go down about a 1/2 inch from the flap of the wallet. So this right here, this section right here is going to be the back of the wallet. This is going to be the front. So front, back, flap. So I'm going to go down about a 1/2 inch. Center my name tape. What size are you making the flap? So this is not my pattern. I can't give out measurements. But the pattern kind of comes down like this and up. All I do is just straighten it out. So the lowest part of the flap, I just straight, and then the widest part of the flap, I straight, and then connect them on both sides. You can make your own pattern that way. But for patterns that are for sale, nobody should be giving out measurements. But if you want this pattern, Emmeline Bag sells it. Just search NCW Emmeline and it'll come up for you. Okay, I have the pattern, so oh, I see. Hopefully that answers you. Okay. So that is attached. And then now we're going to go ahead and install our credit card slots. And that's really just going to go down where the flap of the wallet is. Gonna line that up. And then what we're going to do is just fold over each side. Clip it in place. It does. Okay, good. Sorry. Hey, Frida, you are late. We started 2 hours ago almost. But this will be on YouTube if you want to catch the replay. All right, so to secure this credit card panel in here, all I'm going to do is sew along this side, sew along this side. We're not going to stitch the top because that's going to give us a little section that we can put stuff behind our credit card slots. Don't forget the other part of the closure. So that happens after I do that. Thank you. Hey girl, I am home. Have you done this wallet with the floating zip pockets? Yes, I have both of them. I sure have. So that's what it looks like on one side, stitched in, and that's just securing that panel. What stitch length? So this was a stitch length of 5. Is that vinyl on the patchwork fabric? No, that's cotton. So this is vinyl. The dark blue, solid blue is vinyl. This is cotton. You're welcome. Did the machine survive the move? No, they did not. She's been serviced once since I've opened her up and unpacked her, but I have somebody else coming back on Tuesday to fix some stuff. The stuff that I'm wiping off of here is just a little bit of sewing machine oil, which does not hurt the vinyl at all. In fact, it actually just conditions it a little bit. Just gonna singe that little piece of thread. All right, so now I'm going to install the twist lock. So the next step is going to be to sew the opening and our lining closed. So this is the last step that I'll have access to that opening in the fabric. So I want to go ahead and install my twist lock now. Do you have a video on how you do your floating pockets? I'm having a hard time trying to figure it out. So when you say floating pockets, are you talking about when you pull up the pockets? I do have a couple of videos making this wallet on my YouTube. I'm moving from Texas to Washington in November. I'm learning about how to pack my machine. Ugh. It's so stressful. If you have like some kind of foam, you know how like when you buy a TV and they pack it in a box, but it's packed really tightly with foam. If you have foam, I would do that. So this is just going to give you an idea of what the wallet looks like when it's done. Next step is to add our zipper pockets, which someone was mentioning earlier. This is going to give the wallet different sections. So I'm going to go ahead and mark with a white pen this time where that needs to be sewn in. Oh, this is glue. I saw someone didn't top stitch the flap, but when sewing the sides, oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. So when they sewed the credit card stitch down, or credit card panel down, they sewed up and then they kept sewing up across and then all the way down. Yeah, that's a good idea. That won't work for mine because I add the wristlet strap attachment, but the lines from here and then here are supposed to connect. So if you're having a hard time where they're not, mine do. If you're having a hard time with the top stitching here lining up with here, you can just do it all at one time. It also might not work if you're doing one of these because your foot, unless you use a narrow foot, my foot would rub against this doing the top stitch. So it wouldn't work for mine, but that's actually a really great idea if you used like a magnetic snap. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and sew our pocket in. Going to make sure it is centered and lined up. And this step right here is going to close that cut that we made in our lining. Gonna just trim my thread. So not only does this step secure our pocket, it also gives the structure of the bottom of the wallet, and I'll show you once I'm done. So that's what it looks like on that side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull up each side of this pocket, and that's going to create the sections. And all you do, the pattern tells you exactly where to pull it up and clip it over. You're just going to wrap this vinyl around that pocket. Make sure it's nice and even. And then we're going to pull this one up and do the same thing down here. Make sure we're even. And then the last step is just to sew down the sides to attach these pieces to the actual side. But that's the last step of the wallet. And I personally like to sew down as far as I can and then sew all the way back up. So instead of just back stitching when I start, back stitching when I stop, I back stitch the entire way up. Have you tried the WPC card slot hack? I don't believe so. Waterproof canvas card slot hack? I don't think so. I don't use waterproof canvas. I've tried it. I just don't like, personally, I don't like the feel of it. I don't like the density of it. It's just, for me, not something that I use. Alright, so I just sewed all the way down and then all the way back up. I'm going to do the same thing over here, and then I'm going to trim my threads. And then the last step, I mean the wallet's done, but the last step for this order is just to make a wristlet strap that goes with the wallet, and then I am all done. Hi Emily, Ella, Elle, gosh, I'm sorry. It gives great structure but not. Yeah, that's true. A lot of waterproof canvas. I'm not sure if they have started making patterns yet. I know when I used to dabble in it, it was all solid colors. But I use cotton with Pellon 808, which is a craft fusible interfacing, and I really love the structure of them. I mean, the structure is really good. But it's also, because it's cotton material, it's not weighted down. I find that the weight of the waterproof canvas is just a little bit heavier than I like to use. So for me, cotton and 808 interfacing is like the perfect thickness. It gives it great structure, and that's just a preference. It's all about preferences. That's what I love about like sewing, because you can make something one way, I can make something one way, and they both can look amazing. And it's really just your personality that you bring to it. Elle, I'm so sorry. I told you I would never forget. Alright, so we have our sections. Let's close her up. So remember how I said sewing that box gives the bottom definition for the wallet? I know the shadow is terrible, but that's what I meant. So that's what it looks like. And then when you open it up, you have 3 credit card slots here, 3 credit card slots here. So you have 6 total here, you have 6 total here, so 12 total. And remember, we did not sew this credit card flap down, so we have a section behind the credit card up here, and then behind here we have a zipper pocket, fully lined. And then we have this larger section, which if you have a smaller cell phone will fit in here. I used to have a Google Pixel 6a, I believe, and it fit in here. Isn't it classy? I love this. This pattern is amazing. If you sew and you're looking for a good wallet pattern, Necessary Clutch Wallet by Emmeline Bags. It's just such a classy, timeless pattern, and it comes together. I know I make it look a lot easier than it probably is when you first make it. Sorry, that's my iron. But I've made hundreds of these things. But the more you do it, obviously, the easier it goes. Oh, you're welcome, Rilo. Oh, good, Erin. I hope you love it. Yes, it is my favorites, too. Okay, I didn't have a wristlet strap cut out, so I'm going to have to do that offline. I hope Patricia's still on. But your order is all done. Here is your wallet. And then, here is your Big B. I'm going to have to stick my iron in here, just get out some of these wrinkles. But it is all done, and it'll be shipped out tomorrow morning. Do you make a smaller version? Not of this. I do have a mini wallet. Where are they? Oh, they're down here. No more down there. Sorry, I just moved and I just set my stuff up and I have no idea where anything is. Oh, here we are. So I have this small zip around wallet. and you have 2 credit card slots on each side. You also have a section behind the credit card slots as well as a zipper pocket. And this is about half the size. So I do have these. I'm limited in prints. I'm limited in a lot of stuff because I did a big sale. Popping in during my break. Oh, thanks, Just Mammy. We're all done. Hopefully you're having a great day. All right, I haven't seen Patricia, so I'm going to assume she may have had to step away. I know she was working. So this is all done. If you're watching the replay, the patterns for both of these will be in the description. Where I get this material, I will also link in the description. And if you are on TikTok watching right now, thanks for hanging out with me. Hopefully you stick around. If you follow me, I have Instagram, Facebook, all of the things. I will be off this weekend, but we will be back sewing live. Oh, Patty, there you are. Thanks. Good. I'm so glad. Thank you. I will be back live sewing sometime next week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye.